Hi, my name's David, and I did not captain Mo Salah in FPL GameWeek 9.
Fail.
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. On this video, I'm going to take you guys through a team review of Game Week 9, and spoiler alert, was not a great game week, to be honest. You probably have seen it from the introduction and the title of this video, but yes, I did not captain Mo Salah in Game Week 9, and we're kind of in this video reflecting on that decision, talking about the logic behind it, and talking about the outcomes and consequences, unfortunately, of that kind of FPL decision, and maybe address some reflection points that we can take on to Game Week 10, and so on and so forth. To be honest, I kind of wanted to get this Game Week 9 review out of the way quickly. Didn't want to talk about it in the Game Week 10 team selection, which is probably going to come up either tomorrow or on Thursday evening, just because it was a bad game week. But as I always say in FPL, even if it was a bad game week with bad decisions, we still have to talk about it, just because those reflection points can be used in the future game weeks to hopefully help us make better FPL decisions. So if you guys did have a good game week, you can kind of click off this video, come back to it if you do have a bad game week, because I'll be talking to you guys about some of the mental side of things, how to kind of address a bad situation or bad game week that you guys have had, and how to kind of counteract it and hopefully give you guys a little bit of a boost in the ranks in the upcoming game weeks. But if you want to stick around, you can maybe get some pleasure out of seeing someone that didn't have a relatively good game week. If you guys did have a bad game week, 100% this is going to be the video for you. We'll be talking about some reflection points and basically the logic behind some of these bad decisions that unfortunately led us to have a little bit of a red arrow. So that's something you guys are interested in? Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the first talking point, and probably the major one of Game Week 9, is going to be all about the captaincy situation and Mo Salah in particular. So if you guys don't know, didn't watch my videos last week, I ended up bringing Kai Havertz in for a hit, and then I also captained him. So then what happens is Kai Havertz goes and blanks, gets a clean sheet point, which I'm not counting as a return. And then Salah plays on Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are around the world, against their biggest rivals, Man United, at Old Trafford, and scores a hat-trick and an assist to take him to 24 points in total. So not only 24 points from a captaincy point of view, you double that to 48, and you have one of the biggest captaincy returns I've seen in the past couple seasons. So on paper, no ways that I expect Mo Salah to outperform Kai Havertz by 8 times the points, and I'm pretty sure not that many of you guys expected Mo Salah to get 24 points. If you did, well done. I think you guys should go take out the lottery tickets, because obviously you have some luck on your side there. But on paper, as I said, I was expecting this game to be quite a close one, and that's why I want to get onto my first talking point about why I made this decision. This is going to be really personal. This is going to be my own personal expectations of the Game Week 9 fixtures, and this might not relate to you, and we'll get onto that logic debate a little bit later on. So first of all, I wanted to just put this out there that I am a Liverpool fan. So yes, Game Week 9 might have been a little bit easier for me to take, considering that Liverpool did get their biggest away win over their rivals, Manchester United. So unfortunately, if you guys maybe were a United fan and also a non-Salah captainer, I guess Game Week 9 would have been quite a hard pill to swallow, and I do offer my condolences on that one, as I was really not expecting that even as a Liverpool fan. And unfortunately, as a Liverpool fan, yes, we do have these kind of biases against opposition teams, but we also have them against our own squad. And over the weekend, over the kind of week preceding Game Week 9, spoke to a lot of Liverpool fans, and I'm pretty sure if you guys were a Liverpool fan, were quite nervous about this upcoming game week. And that's just because they're our biggest rivals, United. The games can be quite cagey, and unfortunately, because of those nerves, I might have been a little bit sided to maybe go away from Mo Salah. This is one of those situations where this kind of club bias can kind of blind you from situations, because now on paper, when I look at the previous games for United, conceding 4 to Leicester, this was kind of in the making here that Liverpool would score a couple, and that's maybe where I should have looked at the past game weeks and the stats a little bit more. The second talking point from my own personal point of view was that I honestly thought that Kai Havertz had a high ceiling than Mo Salah. Yes, I thought that Mo Salah could potentially get a goal or an assist, but the thing is, I didn't expect him to score that many. I didn't expect him to maybe get 2 goals, 3 goals, for example, and as I said, I don't think many people were expecting that, but I still did think that Kai Havertz would outperform Mo Salah. And the unfortunate thing about Game Week 9 was that that was actually a reality. Chelsea go and score 7 goals against Norwich, so even though Liverpool do score 5, Chelsea still did outperform them, so the ceiling was higher from a reality point of view, but unfortunately Kai Havertz, I don't know what he was doing on the pitch, he wasn't assisting or scoring, unfortunately, and for our own FPL teams, that was super detrimental. So even though I have only played FPL for a couple of seasons, I can't really remember a game where the striker of a team that scores 7 goals, maybe 5+ goals, doesn't get a single return. That's just such an anomaly for me. I did watch the first half, and I thought that Kai Havertz's runs weren't that great, kind of running out wide. Maybe that's what Tuchel told him to do. I mean, Tuchel knows better than me as he is a proper manager, but I just thought that his positioning was a little bit strange and it seemed like he was almost playing like a cam. Now, I did not watch the second half, so you guys can let me know in the comments down below what you did think about that second half. Maybe he had a couple of chances, but as far as I read, there wasn't too many chances from the German kind of false nine player, and the chances were definitely falling more on the side of Hudson-Odoi and also Mason Mount. So this is where Game Week 9 gets a little bit spicy because yes, I would agree with you guys. If Chelsea won 1-0, Kai Havertz didn't get any returns, I would say, listen, hold my hands up, this was a bad decision. But considering the fact that Chelsea scored 7 goals, I mean, how many times have you seen 7 goals scored in a Premier League game? And then added to that, the striker of that team doesn't get any returns. It just leaves me with the kind of a weird feeling because it almost says like the logic was there, but maybe on a luck point of view or maybe from a positioning point of view, it wasn't the best decision in the world. And then also I saw people saying that Mason Mount was overlooked. I mean, just go look at Mason Mount's stats and his playing time over the preceding game weeks. He was hardly playing for them. Yes, he did come back from that injury, but I don't really think that we kind of could have put him on that form bandwagon. Yes, he had the fixture, but I think the only reason people bought Mason Mount was because he was cheaper than Havertz, or they couldn't afford Havertz at all. So now that we've spoken about my own decisions on kind of who had the highest ceiling, I want to talk about kind of the effective ownership and Mo Salah as a whole. So in terms of the effective ownership, why I want to talk about this is that from my own personal point of view, I don't think I was that happy with the rank that I currently was at. I was sitting around that 220k mark. And at Game Week 9, yes, it wasn't the worst rank of the world, but I thought that this was kind of the game week to take a little bit of a punt on. As I said, didn't think Mo Salah would do that well against United. And I thought that Chelsea would definitely score a couple past Norwich. So from my own effective ownership point of view, Mo Salah was definitely the safe option to go for, as he was always going to be captained by the majority of managers. We saw, I think the top 10k was about 70%. So I think that took his effective ownership to about the 160, 170 mark, might be even higher than that. But effective ownership, what it kind of means is that if the player is over 100% and you didn't captain them, unfortunately, every point they score is going to be quite detrimental to your own kind of ranking system. So on paper, if you guys were a safer manager, Mo Salah definitely the best option to go for, but I thought that this was a good game week to kind of take a punt on. As I said, I wasn't really happy with my own rank. If I was happy with my rank, as you saw the majority of kind of other managers that were sitting quite high up in the ranks, they went for a Mo Salah captain, as although it was a good option to go for, I do think it was kind of a safety and number situation. Now, of course, there will be those of you guys who kind of don't look at effective ownership and thought that Mo Salah was the better option to actually go for. If you did own Havertz, I commend you. That's a kind of a good decision to go for, but I'm pretty sure in the back of your mind there might have been a little bit of a debate about effective ownership going on. So kind of combining all three of these factors, going for the bias of maybe I was a little bit nervous about this upcoming derby game. The second reason is I thought that Kai Havertz had the highest ceiling. Logically, this actually did prove quite solid, but unfortunately Havertz didn't do anything. And then third, I want to take a little bit of a punt as I wasn't really happy with my overall rank. And unfortunately, this combined into me captaining Kai Havertz on Friday evening, and the rest is kind of history. You know that Mo Salah went on and scored 24 points, Havertz only scored 3 points, and that's saw our rank kind of double in size. Now going on to the kind of debate about becoming a better FPL manager, when I did look at this kind of decision making for Game Week 9 and translated it to Game Week 10, I actually looked at my Game Week 10 team and I was almost willing to captain Kai Havertz again. Now yes, Mo Salah does have Brighton at home, but for some reason I thought that this game might be a little bit hard on paper. I know that Brighton did concede 4 goals to Man City in Game Week 9, and I think that Liverpool will still score more against them, but I just think if Kai Havertz starts against Newcastle, the logic was there. Unfortunately, his stats weren't. So that's why I think I was still almost considering going for him, but I just think Mo Salah is going to be the permanent captain for at least the next couple game weeks. So don't worry, I won't make this decision again. Yes, it was kind of a mistake, but I consider the mistake the outcome, not really the decision making, as I do believe the logic was still quite prevalent in that decision. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys do agree. Obviously, there will be some of you guys that will be saying that you should have gone for Mo Salah in the first place. There will be some of you guys probably saying that you expected Mo Salah to score a hat-trick. I don't really know if I'll believe you on that one, but if you do kind of understand the logic I had, we can have a nice little debate in the comments down below. As I always like to see your guys' outputs. And if you didn't captain Mo Salah and you captained someone different, also let me know in the comments down below and why you did that. But now going on to the Game Week 9 team, as I wanted to give some reflection about some other talking points, also why the team didn't end up performing that well. Now, if I did captain Mo Salah, I want to just put this out there that I would have got a green arrow. It would have been a little bit of a small green arrow. I think it would have been sitting about the 190k mark, but that would have been a green arrow nevertheless. So what that does show you though, is that the rest of the team, it wasn't the worst kind of game week in the world. And I think differentials like a Reece James scoring 13 points definitely contributed to that higher score. In terms of the rest of the team, we did have Sanchez scoring scoring 4 points. I got a couple bonus points and save points against Man City. This was the expectation, and I guess that's one decision that I did get right this game week. Game week 9 was playing Sanchez over Foster. As we did see, although Watford put up a good fight late on into the game week, Foster didn't get that many save points, unfortunately. Kind of staying on that fixture of Brighton versus Man City, you can see my double up of Cancelo and Diaz agonizingly close to a double up on that clean sheet, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Edison conceding a penalty, and Brighton of course getting 1 to 4-1 the end result, and that's why Diaz and Cancelo are sitting on 1 and 2 points. Trenton Arnold luckily did kind of return the patience we had in him since the start of the season, and I was relatively happy that we did bring in Trent again on our wildcard, as he does look to be in quite good form, and I'm hoping that the Liverpool defense can bounce off this clean sheet against United and carry it through in the upcoming game weeks. In terms of the midfield department, I already touched on Mo Salah and Havertz. Unfortunately, Townsend didn't get anything out of this game. Danny Rose didn't start at that fullback position, so maybe that's why Townsend didn't get that much success. And then Mbeumo did come off our bench. This was the one thing that I did notice from my final team video, is that I did replace Adam Armstrong and Mbeumo, or at least switch them on the bench decision. Now, this doesn't actually end up returning that much. Adam Armstrong and Mbeumo both getting 1 point. We'll be talking about the injury news to Vardy and Mbeumo in the team section coming up on Wednesday or Thursday, so stay tuned to that video for the updates. And then going on to our forward department, Jamie Vardy also coming off at halftime, and luckily Antonio did get us some points with a goal, which was the winner in that derby match against Spurs. On the bench, Azpilicueta did not feature against Norwich. A little bit unlucky, but I was actually thinking that he would be benched. I did say in the final team selection that I did have more of a hope that Reece James started than Azpilicueta, and unfortunately Mbeumo did come off the bench with only 1 point. After I did think that Mbeumo could potentially get something out of that Leicester game, but unfortunately he was subbed at halftime. Adam Armstrong yet again did not start, and definitely looks to be out of kind of favor with the Southampton manager. So if you guys do own Adam Armstrong, I would probably be transferring him out in the near future, as I don't think he's going to be getting that many minutes. And finally, Douglas Louise only with 1 point. He'll always be rooted to my bench on that third position, as I don't really have much faith in the 4.5 midfielder. But this was the overall team. As I did say, if I did go with the Mo Salah captain, it would have been a little bit of a green arrow, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, and we saw quite a drop in the overall rankings. And how significant that drop was mentioned it in the introduction, that we kind of doubled our rank, went from 220k to about 480k. So yes, more than doubled the rank, and unfortunately that did cost us due to the high ownership of Mo Salah and the high captaincy percentage. Now, I was a little bit down about this rank, but then what I did was I looked at last season's overall rank at Game Week 9, and I was at 3.6 million come Game Week 9 in last season, which is just simply sensational. I did manage to get that rank to about 60k, so don't worry guys, if you did have a bad game week, you can always rebound about it. We always say that FPL is a marathon, not a sprint, so come Game Week 38, that's the only overall rank that really does matter. So keep the faith, and I'm pretty sure we'll make some better FPL decisions over these upcoming game weeks. Now, what I won't do is I won't be doing rage transfers. Please don't do that. I know some people like to do that, but I think after a game week, we are quite emotional and we want to get rid of these options. But there is some injuries to some notable options like an Mbeumo and a Vardy that we want some clarity on before making our final decisions come that to game week 10 deadline. So please don't do rage transfers. If you guys want to, and that's how you play FPL, 100% go for it. I can understand that that might be kind of the healing procedure to go through, but I definitely wouldn't recommend that. In terms of the upcoming game weeks, I would still keep the same strategy. FPL is a very volatile game. Sometimes you're on top of the world and sometimes you're at the bottom. I mean, there are some FPL managers that I've seen over on Twitter, really high ranks, and unfortunately because they didn't captain Mo Salah, have dropped in the ranks dramatically, but there still is a chance they get up there if there are some lucky decisions coming up. So hopefully this video has helped you guys. I mean, it always is better to see other FPL managers that have done badly. Sometimes on FPL Twitter, we only see the good things. So now I'm going to be showing you the bad side. And as I always said, we have to show the bad side because that makes us better FPL managers in the long run. Hopefully you guys aren't being too mean in the comments down below, but I do understand it. If I did make you captain Kai Havertz, I do apologize. But as I did say, and hopefully I've expressed it over the intro to this video, that the logic was there, but in FPL, sometimes luck isn't on your side. But this basically wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for the team selection and also the ultimate guide to Game Week 10 coming up later in this midweek. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the League Cup as well coming up tonight and also tomorrow. And hopefully, fingers crossed that there's no injuries to any more notable players. I'll be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.